Okay. All right. We should be live.
Woo. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, looks like we are.
we are live. Yay. Hi, everyone.
Hi, I'm
Hello,
Chloe.
writers. I'm Sandy, and this is WordStitch.
It is.
It is WordStitch. So
We're
we
live
are,
and not live, yes.
yeah, so we're a virtual write-in. How did you suppose people come to these at this point and don't know what they are? I don't know. I feel like maybe not, but just in case.
don't know. I feel like it'd be really weird to be coming into this and not have any idea what you're getting into because we're like so far down in the slush pile.
Yeah, right. And because presumably if you found us because you were looking for like a virtual write-ins or like word sprints, and that is what we do. And we're going to start right at 4:05 with a 10-minute word sprint. So we're gonna get right into it, and otherwise we're going to like ramble to you during the breaks. And we don't have a topic today, Chloe. We needed a topic,
Yeah,
man.
no, I messed that up. As per usual, we got real distracted talking about other things, and then never came up with a topic.
Do we want to talk about covers? I think covers could be a decent topic.
I don't know because I feel like I'm gonna fall off into a rant about how everything went terribly wrong on GIMP today.
I
Um,
I'm voting for
you
covers.
know, Herb does have a good point. The peanut is neither a pea nor a nut, and that's a really weird. Yeah.
That is true. I don't know how that relates to covers, but yeah.
No, about topics to talk about because there is a lot of weird words like that in the English language. I would love to talk about
Oh,
that. Um,
yes.
but like uh, grapefruit are nowhere like grapes, and pineapples have nothing to do with apples. There are a lot of things that are poorly named out there. Also, the German language is a hot mess with stuff like that. I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
I don't know. I know the English language is a pretty hot mess, actually. I
There's
am aware of
a
that.
lot of, like, the German language has not less words than us, but a lot less new words. Like a lot of their words are things like pineapple, a lot of compound words. But their compound words get really ridiculous. So like there are probably like 20 animals with the word pig in their name.
Hmm.
And that includes like turtle, if I remember correctly.
Because apparently they all look like pigs.
Oh, right. And there'll all be things like turtle is something like a shell pig. But then also I feel like there are some that are like, shell pig plus another thing on them. Like it's that's how I don't. German has really long words. So this is a really weird. I'm sorry, this is a weird tangent that I went off on first thing in our show. But German has really, really long words because they build these gigantic compound words that are literally like, we decided not to make up a name for this thing and just, name it like everything else.
I think as writers who write fantasy sometimes we should really like be sympathetic to this. Like the number of times I've had to like come up with an animal and I've been like, what am I gonna name this?
Yeah.
So I know I'm gonna call it a rat cat.
Mm-hmm.
I know those aren't the same. Oh, here, this is I think useful also.
I've
just in
got a
case
death rat in hell right now. They're just being called death rats, and I accept that.
So okay, so wait, briefly, Chloe, what are you working on today?
I am working on an Easter demon for Eloise. I have finally gotten a bit into my groove on that and making actual progress.
Nice. And my angel romance is written and I'm proofreading. So I don't proofread during write-ins. So I'm back to the Lizzie Dupree story and we'll hopefully I'm gonna have to use the first 10 minutes to see where I am. And we are at the first 10 minutes. So we should
Oh,
get on that.
sweet. Am I sharing screen right now? Did I do that? Yes,
No,
I
wait, that's
am.
me sharing screen. Here,
Yeah.
there's you sharing screen. Okay.
You're not sharing screen. I'm sharing
No,
screen.
yes, you are. Yeah.
Okay. Also, that thing is at the bottom. Was it here before? Never mind. Anyways, so it is 5 after. So this is our first sprint. We're going to sprint for 10 minutes. So we'll see you guys at quarter after. Good luck, everybody.
Okay, we are back.
Yay. How'd you
Yes.
do?
Oh, I didn't put up our word prompt. I had a word prompt. And
Aw.
yeah. I did okay. I had so like I left the story that I'm working on for basically like the first 20 days of January and completely ignored it so I could get done the angel story, which I was sort of desperate to finish. So it's been almost 3 weeks since I've looked at that story, and I had to go back and read a bunch of it. Thank God I had like kind of an outline that I'd been creating as I went through the chapters, or I would have had I'd forgotten most of it. What about you?
Was this sprint your start of it, or have you been working on it all day?
This was the start of it.
Okay. What did I do? I'm sorry, everything is buried right now. I did 266, and a bit of administrative stuff. So I am happy with that.
Very nice. Herb got 355 in 10 minutes. That's like
It is.
fast.
Yeah.
Go.
Jealous.
Says somebody who normally writes at like 33 words a minute or something like that. Or is it
I
higher?
know, but I'm behind today.
So not you. So I thought of something that we should talk about. Since we don't have a specific thing that we have planned for our breaks, and it is what time we should have our write-ins at. So for those of you watching, Chloe and I started our word sprints, I don't know, like a year and a half ago. Was it like 2 years now? It's been a while. At least a year ago. And so we've been doing these for like a while. And then she discovered AuthorTubers, the amazing Facebook group where lots of writers are doing write-ins. And we are now aware that there's a schedule. So
we messed up the schedule.
Yeah, we did. We didn't need to do that. So like we've been thinking of maybe like pushing our write-in back so that we're not conflicting with someone. And so Chloe, what's your like top end? Like what's the latest that you would want to do this at? Because you work early.
Well, I work very early. So for me, like I don't think I could make it to 9 o'clock with any sort of pep in my life at all. So realistically, like 6 to 8 would be the latest I would be able to do sprints. So I think our options are either to push today back to 5 to 7, or I think tomorrow the 4 to 6 slot is open.
Oh, like to move it to Tuesday and do 4 to 6 there.
Yes, did I phrase that a weird way? I might have.
No, I didn't understand. So you're saying like we could generally move to like 6 to 8 or 5 to 7 on Mondays, or we could do 4 to 6 on Tuesdays.
Yes.
So if you are watching and you've been joining us and you have an opinion on that, definitely let us know in the comments. We're not like deciding today, but we are interested. Like if you're, writing with us a lot, then would it be like, would we lose you for eternity if we started writing from 6 to 8, or if we moved it to Tuesdays, or is there a particular time that like you think would be better? Let us know, because we are interested. And I'm undecided on what would be best for me at this point. I think I'm, we'll see.
Okay, so Herb is not liking Tuesdays, and I support that. Tuesdays was going to be weird for me to fit in. It was just the other option.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe pushing it back is something that we will do. We definitely we don't want to like step on anybody's toes, right? And we didn't know we were stepping before, so we can correct this. We can do this. So Chloe is working on covers today, and I really think we should talk about covers. I think we should talk about like pet peeves. Like okay, so
geez,
seriously,
you're taking me like into a whole category there.
No. But so let's assume for your sake that we are talking about an author who should absolutely be doing their own cover. Okay, like this is somebody who has the skill to do their own cover, which I realize like most people don't think exists, but let's say it's out there. So what are the, like, what's the top stuff that drives you crazy that you see on a cover, Chloe? Do you want to go back and forth?
Why would you put this pressure on me? I haven't thought about it at all.
Just
The funny, so I don't think this even specifically has to be doing your own covers, but also buying covers, because like there are certainly a lot of cover designers out there that are not worth their weight.
yeah.
Um, but this is such a broad topic, because I feel like a lot of it isn't even pet peeves. Because I feel like when you get down to pet peeves, they're basically all going to be market trends. And like the reason that people are doing these terrible things, like the shirtless guys and the single item on a flat, maybe slightly shaded background, those are just what the market is.
No, but that's not what I mean. I mean,
I don't know
stuff
what you
like,
mean.
okay, so I'll give you mine. Somebody uses really small text for like their author name, or like a basic standard font. Like they put their name in like Times New Roman.
Yeah, that was, I wish you hadn't said that basic font thing. I wish you hadn't added that to it, because that drives me crazy every time. Anytime I can name your font.
Yeah.
I deal with fonts a lot, so I realize that like this is a weird skill that I can identify basically every single font that comes standard with Windows. If I can identify it though, then you have picked the wrong font for your cover. There are plenty of really nice fonts out there that, like, if you are thinking, I really like the look of Times New Roman, or I'm really liking the look of Georgia, or, any of those really standard ones. There are plenty of fonts out there that have the same feel as those, but do not look like literally you just picked the top font at the top of the page.
Okay, this is an interesting thing on fonts. So for the cover, I totally agree with you, right? Like, oh, don't pick a font that anybody can name. But inside of the book, please don't pick a font that nobody can name. Like, inside your book, use Garamond or Times New Roman or something really standard, because there are like some tried and true things that eyes can read, and like that there you need to be boring.
There is a slight variation to it. Like I always think of Harry Potter. The typeset on Harry Potter is, I believe, an odd font. Excuse me while I grab a Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's one of those standards.
I think it's one of those that's just slightly off, and she is wonderful enough to say, oh no, you know what? It is absolutely. It looks like it's probably Garamond.
I did some like serious research.
Sorry, I lied and said terrible things. Yeah, it is absolutely. I am so proud of myself. I literally proved what I just said, and I identified Garamond, and because it's J.K. Rowling, there's that lovely back page that actually says it. I know you guys couldn't read it, but just so you know, in the back of all the Harry Potters, that page exists.
so that's our like official position on fonts here, I think, right? Like make it recognizable on the inside, but not necessarily like on the outside. We can have some fun. Let's have some fun.
I can literally talk about fonts all day, but actually there's also a very practical thing to that. If you are doing an ebook, and we are about to start our next sprint, but if you're doing an ebook, you want it to be one of the standard fonts anyways, because your ebook, you're going to have to go through a lot more crud formatting your ebook, and also to actually get that to work. And then most people aren't going to be reading it in that anyways, because most e-readers, I don't know about you, but I actually have mine set to dyslexic font because it's easier for me to read. So it gets overridden anyways. So just pick a standard font, because it doesn't matter. And you're going to actually, not only is it harder to program, but it's actually going to cost you money using a different font, because it's going to be a bigger file, and you get charged by download on Amazon, at least. I don't know about anywhere else.
Indeed. All right, let's
Yeah.
start our next write-in. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pop a an actual word prompt up here. Oh,
Okay.
Chloe, I put your screen up there too. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I got
And
lost trying to find that full screen thing. Okay, so this is our 25-minute. We are going to go to 10 of. Good luck, everybody.
Okay. We are back.
Yes.
So how'd you do?
I did 481, but I'm writing a scene from the villain's perspective.
Oh, those are the best.
To write? Absolutely not.
Oh. Oh no, I love
Are
writing
you
from
good at writing that? I'm terrible at writing that.
it's like your opportunity to get into somebody's head who like you hardly ever get into, right? Like I have a whole book planned for my villains. It's actually the one I'm writing next in my YA series. It's like I've been dying to write it. Dying.
Do I look adequately horrified by that?
You do. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer being in the heads of the heads I'm usually in. Especially each other, but they're gonna make up soon.
Well, I appreciate you weren't in your comfort zone. So if you got somewhere awesome.
Yeah. Herb got a whole bunch of words again. And
Yay.
Haley, you're doing a painting a day? Is this like, what kind of painting are you doing? It'll be a while before she gets that question. But how did you do?
I forgot. There's a delay, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna come back and find out when Haley's painting.
Oh, okay. So wait, in the meanwhile, then let's do a quick reminder for anybody who wasn't here just a few minutes ago. So one thing that Chloe and I are considering for February is bumping the time slot of our WordStitch back to maybe like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 on Mondays, or possibly bumping it back to 4 to 6 on Tuesdays. So if you have an opinion about which of those would work for you, let us know. We haven't made decisions yet, but we're trying not to run into anybody else's time slot. So, okay, 100 landscapes for the first 100 days of the year. That's the answer to Chloe's question to Haley. That's intense.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend right now that's doing a watercolor every day. But she's like working, I think she's working through a workbook. I haven't actually asked her. Everything that she's doing is really beautiful. It's not like the full-on landscape style. It's like single, like there was a fox one day and a flower and an owl and, you know, a bunch of different things and like a couple of like starscapes. But like, yeah, so she's learning how to watercolor. Everything she's doing is beautiful though. Oh, Haley's doing like real fancy stuff there.
Hey, this is a good time. We've got people here who can talk more about cover pet peeves, and I've got one for you, Chloe. I've got another one. Do you want to hear it?
Cover pet peeve, because I will literally like take one single topic and run the entire show off of it.
Okay, so here's my topic for you. So you know those covers where there's like a background, like there's mountains or space or like grass or something like that. Okay, and then like way in front in like clothing that doesn't match the background, or like whatever, there's like one person, like maybe he's like a broad-chested Scottish man in like a kilt, or he's like maybe he's just like a biker, or like you know, like the shifter ones, it's like a girl and her like beast, whatever the beast is, but they don't blend into the background at all. Yeah. And you're like, what happened there? I know you have thoughts on this.
I do. So for me, it starts with the fact that like, if you don't know how to do any sort of photoshopping skills, you shouldn't be photoshopping. And by that, I don't mean you should never Photoshop. I mean, you should learn how to Photoshop. Because I see this with indie cover project. I see all the time where they've literally like cut an item, you know, like drop background and then pasted it onto something else. And there's no shadowing. There's nothing done to like fix the coloring or anything like that. So like that is one small part of it. But the other part is, as you said, if there is like any sort of a busy background going on at all, unless the foreground thing is like fully integrated into that background, it doesn't work. If you have a busy background going on, it really needs to be almost entirely covered and just kind of filling up the bit of negative space that's left.
Yeah, and it's crazy, right? Because so often that stuff is like massive depth perception problems, right? Where you're like the spacing of that mountain and that guy is just like, what is going on here? And I agree with you then. I feel like in those cases, like you'd have been better off with no background. Just
yeah.
No background.
Yeah, that's it. Like if you have no background, and again, that is a very common cover style where it's just a single object on a flat background. You've got like, unfortunately, the first two things that pop into my brain are 50 Shades of Grey and the Red Queen series. I don't endorse either of those, but those are the first two that pop into my brain. And of course, 50 Shades was the like, what the hell even was it?
It was a tie.
And Twilight, of course, because 50 Shades was mimicking Twilight. Twilight was the goddamn apple.
I also like that. Do you not like those?
No, and I mentioned that before as the in that list of things that are just like what the market is, and therefore it's played out. So stylistically, I do get it, and certainly like that apple was a very intriguing cover 75 years ago when Twilight came out, but now it's just it's boring to me now because I've seen 1,000 covers like that.
You know what though? So
and that's probably like an exaggeration in the other way. Obviously it wasn't 75 years ago, but I've probably seen way more than 1,000 covers like that.
So I think boring doesn't bother me. And it doesn't even bother me if like dated doesn't bother me. Like sometimes you'll see somebody with a cover that looks like it should have been like on a Jane Austen novel or something, and you're like, oh no, that's going to be really hard to sell. But I always feel like at least that person picked a theme and stuck with it, where and tried to do it well for what it was. Whereas you see something like really wonky depth perception and like poor photoshopping, or like Times New Roman, you see The Red Apple by Sandra Vasher in Times New Roman on your book, and you're like, oh no, that went. Yeah. And I think the thing with that is that it's never good. Like those were never good. There was never a time when stylistically that worked. It's just horrible. That's what I'm trying to identify. The 1,000 years from now, that is not going to be in fashion.
But I mean, if you looked at books written 100, 200 years ago, I mean, their cover was literally just the title in whatever the standard font was.
But sure, but that was like a particular style, right? Like it wouldn't have been. I disagree. I don't think photoshopping a man in a kilt against like a strange mountain is that if you're going to do that photoshopping, they have to blend better.
Right. Oh yeah. And again, it needs to be. I feel like there's probably an actual equation out there, but I feel like if more than half of your image is background, but it's not background with a purpose except just to fill it and be a goddamn Highland, then it's too much.
Yeah.
And
because I don't mind either of those elements on their own. Like I have no problem with the guy in the kilt. I just this is an interesting one. So Haley says she loves simple covers, the ones like a stamp. I do too, actually. I think that those are really nice. And I think it's another kind of thing where those could be super stylistic, but if they're done well, at least you're not going to look back 20 years and be embarrassed by any of it.
That was that the pirate series that you really liked was like that, right?
Seafire. Oh, I love Seafire. Yeah.
And that was how that cover was, right? It was just like a single icon.
Kind of.
Anne Rice does have that series. Sorry, there's two conversations going on.
And it's
B&B,
also
that was
five
the Anne
o'clock.
Rice series.
Yeah. So okay, we
Yeah.
got it right. So
Oh,
we better.
yeah, 5:01. We're late, or
Yeah,
we're
we're
after,
late.
depending on where you
We're
are.
late.
Yes.
All
So we
right.
were going to do our 1K 30 minutes. So we are going to write until it's going to be 31 now because we started a little bit late. Herb, we'll talk about pre-mates in a minute.
Yes.
I'm mostly okay with that. And by in a minute, I mean in a half hour because we're ready for the next half hour. So we will see you guys at 31 past.
Okay. How are you doing?
I finished that scene, which was good, and then I didn't know what I was doing, which was bad. So I wasted a whole bunch of time, but I got back into the story and I wrote 473, and I finally tied Easter into the damn thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That had to happen at some
Like,
point.
it takes place in the time between April Fool's Day and Easter, which I have not defined when Easter is in this year, but obviously is going to be sometime in April, or else it wouldn't make any sense. Time would be going backwards. It's okay. But yeah, so it was definitely set at Easter time, but I had not made an actual Easter reference until now.
So I'm also feeling good about my progress. It turns out I'm more than halfway done with that story. So yay.
You already had that started, right? That was what you picked up during Nano, right? When the angel thing wasn't working out?
Yeah, I have like a significant amount of it written, but I sort of changed the plot line. I changed the plot line. It's related to sort of yeah, we should talk about it at some point because it's an interesting reason why I changed it. But let's talk about pre-made covers for now, since we do sort of have a
really quickly before we do that, though, part of how I pissed away a whole bunch of time, Haley, I love the gouache sunset over the water painting. It is lovely, and I love sunset over water paintings. Keep going.
Okay. So pre-made covers, right? We've got a question about that. So what are your thoughts on pre-made covers, Chloe? I have thoughts on this. I don't know if we would agree or disagree on pre-made covers.
So I literally do not care how you get your cover, as long as it's an attractive cover and it fits your theme, your genre, all that kind of thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with buying pre-mades as long as they fit yours. I don't find anything wrong with, paying somebody on Fiverr. I don't recommend it because I feel like you're never going to be happy with the result on Fiverr. But if you end up with something you like, fantastic. If you make your own and it's good, great. If you pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for your cover, great. I think it's all fine as long as the cover itself is good. I don't think how you get it dictates if it's okay or not.
So we partially agree. So I think I am with you that like there are actually a lot of fantastic pre-made covers. So like you find one that looks good, who cares if it was pre-made, right? Like go for it. I do think that you tend to get what you pay for to a point. And so I mean I definitely, I mean there's a difference between, a $5 cover and a $150 cover and a $300 cover. And then I also think it's really important when you do covers to work with a cover designer who gives you a quote and an estimate, not based on hours, but on project, because I have seen that go terribly for some friends where they like hire a cover designer hourly without like an upper limit and then end up with something that's super expensive, like more in the thousands range. And a thousand is crazy for somebody who does not have like an amazing reputation. Like you'd have to be like you would have to be really committed to your cover to pay $1,000 for it. And that cover designer would have to be so good.
There is that point with stuff like that where I don't know. I realize that this is kind of trashing what we do a bit, but I feel like if you're like hiring out cover designers for thousands of dollars, you might be at the point where you just need to be traditionally published. Like, not because you're too good to be Yeah, that didn't sound right how it came out. Not because you're too good to be self-published, but because you're obviously doing well enough to spend this money, but I think you need somebody managing you at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with two cover designers who I think, and I think both of them are like phenomenal. Like I love both of them. I think cover designers can be awesome allies too, right?
Mhm.
Because they are also promoting their stuff. So like, having, a cover designer put your stuff up on their website or like vice versa, that's amazing. And but I know, like I actually do think that it can be worthwhile to, I mean, your cover is your biggest marketing piece, right? So like, I definitely think that it matters to have a decent cover. So and genre specific wise, right? Like in YA, you can't you will never sell your book if you have a bad cover. It's
Yeah.
it's like it's just unthinkable. Like you can't not hire that cover. Unless you are already a cover designer, in which case, honestly, like usually people don't have all that talent together, right? Like most of us aren't both phenomenal cover designers and phenomenal writers. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you're spending, you're like at thousands of dollars for your romance cover, something has wrong. Something has
Oh,
wrong, guys.
I mean, if if you're spending thousands of dollars on a romance cover, you need to research your genre.
So true. It's so true.
I'm sorry.
But
Yeah.
there are some really excellent
Like
places.
go into romance slightly. The way that you make money off of romance as a self-published author is to write a crap ton of romance to the point where you really like you could be making 6 digits and you still probably can't afford to spend thousands of dollars on a cover because
This
you're
is
putting out too many books.
totally true. Totally true. But actually, there's some amazing markets for like pre-made covers too, which usually run more like 50 to like 200, right? So like there's like fantastic websites. There are Facebook groups for it. There are Facebook groups where like designers post their like cool new pre-made covers, and then you could also go on there and be like, "Hey guys, I'm looking for somebody who can do this project. This is my budget. Anybody interested?" That's how I found my second cover designer, and like
Mhm.
that's the greatest thing ever because I mean, what a fantastic market where you can say this is my budget and they can say I can do this and they can show you their portfolio and you get, a dozen choices in like a couple of minutes and everybody has opportunities. I mean, that stuff is that's fantastic. And like for the work that would go into, doing your own cover, I definitely think it's worth spending the
Yeah.
couple $100 sometimes if you, or at least 100 to get
And
a.
if we're ranking things, I would definitely say it's a much smarter investment to spend that like 50 to 200 on a pre-made cover than it is to do 5.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My choking there. Did I tell you guys this? I got some quotes back for some proofreading.
Oh, you told me, but I don't think you told the group.
Oh, I mean, okay. So in fairness, like, so I think both Chloe and I can sort of say we're editing rebels, right? So like I don't think either of us pay for editors. I did once for my YA book because I felt like I should really make sure that flagship book didn't have typos. It still had typos, even though I
Yeah.
paid for a copy editor. But for romance books and such, I don't think either of us pay for copy editors. But for the one that I'm doing right now, I was doing it fast. I was like, I should maybe consider it, right? Like maybe it's worth it to spend, say, 200 or 300 on some copy editing and proofreading. So I got some quotes, 650 and 800. Oh, that's like
Yeah.
so many covers.
And
And
how long is that book?
like 65,000
Yeah.
words. I
Yeah.
know, right? So it's like, novel length, but not like long novel length. That's not a 400-page book. That's a 285-page book, right? Like maybe. and 600. I was like
Yeah.
stunned. My YA book, which is like 400, I want to say I paid $500 for that copy editing. Which which seemed a lot to me at the time. But and I know editing can be very expensive, but like, whoa, that was insane to me. And I can't even imagine um
Yeah.
paying that. So I was
I do
flabbergasted.
think it's important to put that caveat on this that editing is super important. And if
Yeah.
you cannot, somebody else has to look at your stuff. We just look at each other's stuff. And we also happen to both write clean enough copy, or at least be able to edit it to clean enough copy that if we don't look at it, there have been a couple of things that we both put out that haven't had anybody look at it, and then reading it through later, it's still been an acceptable amount of errors to
Yeah.
me. um and again, like, this is somebody that is coming from the romance genre,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's some genres are much more finicky about errors, but if it's one typo and 10,000 words, we're doing pretty okay. So definitely have somebody look at it, especially if it's your first couple of novels. And I would absolutely tell you, if you sent me something that like needed more editing, I would absolutely say, I'm not the person to deal with this. But yeah, you absolutely need somebody else's opinion on whether you need an editor or not.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, and not that like, I mean, definitely, like I'm proofreading my first Angel book again. Like, I find about a typo or maybe two every chapter. There's like 15 chapters. That means there's like 30 typos in that book. That's a lot of typos. And
That's a
then at the
good
same
number.
time, it is, right?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's also kind of not for that genre.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, I, like, do you deal with 30 typos, or do you go, like, I think it's really worth it to spend $800 to.
I I put it down to how much money you think you're going to make off of it, and I've yet to make $800 off of a single thing that I have written. So
Yeah.
it is not worth it to me. It is about quarter of, though, and that
Yep.
means it is time for our very last sprint. This is going to be another 10-minute sprint. Just a little cool down, and then we'll mosey on out. Is the timer up?
Timer is up.
Awesome. We are going to go ahead and start now. We have a prompt. We've had prompts this entire time, and you haven't said what a single one of them is. What's this prompt?
Oh yeah, no, because I stick them up there and decide that
I
that
think
people
forget
can
about
read it.
them.
The prompt, the solution doesn't work for your main character.
Okay, that's going to be really good for me actually right now, because they're trying to figure out how to get an egg out of a poison fountain. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Okay, we are back.
Yes.
Yes.
So I got 314 on that, which was a big improvement from the last two sprints that I did less well on.
And
I did more words in the last two sprints, but not as much as the minutes were worth.
I finished a scene, but I'm happy with that. I think I have like my 25,000 words written for that novella already. I think I just have like 2 or 3 scenes to fill in. I didn't even realize like it was that far done. I got so into it. Oh,
That's
Herb,
good
sorry you
news.
had a crisis during the last few minutes. That stinks. But
What's up?
hopefully those of you.
My thing's been loading.
What?
What's up? My chat box hasn't been loading, I don't think.
My screen was really slow for a minute there. But so again, since that was our last sprint, if you're joining us and you have an opinion on when we should hold these virtual word sprints, we are looking at pushing this back to 5 to 7 or 6 to 8 or possibly to Tuesdays. So we haven't made decisions yet. We probably won't make decisions until the last minute. And I'm sure we'll wait until February.
On this for February.
Right. So next time we'll still be here Monday, January 27th, 4 to 6 p.m. But hopefully we'll have decided by then, right? So we can at least make like an announcement. Yes. All right. So anybody last words, Chloe, last comments for our thing here today before we wrap up?
No, I think we did a good job of filling that time in. And we were actually like not really, I don't know, every time we have one of those like things not to do, I feel like I'm absolutely going to like bash things that I shouldn't. But the only thing that I bashed, I believe, was Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey and Red Queen. And I feel absolutely no guilt about bashing any of those series.
We also have a healthy disagreement about those covers. So if somebody were watching, there was an opinion on the other side. I also read all of that. You know, let's not go there anymore. Oh God!
You closed the door on 50 Shades of Grey many years ago.
Yeah, I did. There was that time period in my life. Okay, and with that confession, I think we should probably end our show for this time. So
I agree.
We'll see you guys all on Monday. If you came here, thanks so much for joining us. My dog is going crazy, so obviously it's time for me to go.
Yes. Yeah, I hear Ken stopping around, so that means it's got to be about dinner time soon. So yeah, you guys all have a great week, and we will see y'all next Monday. Bye.
Bye.